This is Daily Video Game News, your fast, fresh, and straight-to-the-point source for all things gaming. It's a new day, and there's a lot to cover, so stick around and let's jump right in. Remember, please like and subscribe if you love staying in the loop on all things gaming. Hit that notification bell so you never miss a beat. Quick update for Nintendo fans. We've got some clarity on those physical Switch 2 Edition cartridges. There was confusion last week when a customer service rep suggested that these versions might only include a download code for the upgrade. But good news, that's not the case. Nintendo has officially confirmed. Physical Switch 2 Edition games will have both the base game and the upgrade right there on the cartridge. No download code needed. However, heads up, some publishers might still sell versions that come as a download code in a box, but that's up to them. Now, if you're wondering what makes Switch 2 Edition special, these aren't just regular ports. They come with big improvements, better visuals, new features, and even performance boosts. Nintendo's already announced 6 games getting the Switch 2 Edition treatment. For Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, Switch Online Plus expansion pack members will get the upgrades included in their subscription. Otherwise, you can purchase the upgrade separately. Expect boosted resolution, better frame rates, HDR, and even a new Zelda Notes feature for maps and achievements on your phone. As for Metroid Prime 4 Beyond, it's packing mouse support plus 2 modes, 4K 60 frames per second or HD 120 frames per second, both with HDR. Super Mario Party Jamboree and Kirby are also getting fresh content, like new mini-games and a second story mode for Kirby. So, rest easy if you're grabbing physical copies. You're covered right out of the box. Speaking of Nintendo, we have some clarification on the Switch 2 edition of The Legend of Zelda, Breath of the Wild. So, during the big Switch 2 reveal, the Switch 2 editions looked like they were like the definitive edition of those games, right? And Breath of the Wild was one of them. And naturally, some fans started wondering, wait, does this mean we're getting the DLC bundled in? Well, here's the answer. Nope. Nintendo has now confirmed that the Breath of the Wild Switch 2 edition does not include the expansion pass DLC. If you want the full experience, you'll have to buy the DLC separately. Now, to be fair, Nintendo never actually said it would include the DLC, but the way they pitched it, with all the performance boosts, higher frame rates, and polished visuals, gave it that definitive edition vibe. So, you can see why people got confused. Speaking of Switch 2, Nintendo is clearly moving fast with the Switch 2 rollout, and it's all about staying ahead of potential tariffs. According to Bloomberg, Nintendo has already shipped over 1 million Switch 2s, manufactured in Vietnam, to the US in just the first 2 months of this year. Customs records show that in January, Nintendo sent 100% of Vietnam-made Switch 2 units straight to the US. That's a big shift, especially since only a fraction of Vietnam's production was sent stateside late last year. The reason? Donald Trump's now confirmed tariffs on Chinese imports are back in play. And even though these are made in Vietnam, supply chains are so interconnected that tariffs can still have a ripple effect. Nintendo's clearly trying to get ahead of any disruption and make sure US shelves are fully stocked before prices potentially spike. Smart move, considering the US is one of Nintendo's biggest markets. And with the Switch 2 hype building fast, they definitely want to avoid shortages. Next up, let's check in on the saga that is Star Citizen. Believe it or not, Star Citizen has now raised over $800 million. Man, it blows my mind just thinking of the amount of money this game is getting. But despite all that cash, there's still no sign of a full 1.0 release. The game has been in paid alpha for years now, with new updates rolling out regularly, but we're still waiting for that elusive finish line. To put this into perspective, the last major funding milestone was $700 million back in May last year. So that's an extra $100 million in just 11 months. Remember, Star Citizen originally aimed for a 2014 release, But with feature creep and growing ambitions, it's kept expanding way beyond the original plans. The closest thing to a release update came last March when CEO Chris Roberts said the team is driving toward the finish line. Encouraging? Maybe, but let's not hold our breath. On the bright side, the single-player spin-off Squadron 42 is supposedly closer, aiming for a 2026 release. Still, given all the delays so far, let's wait and see if that date sticks. Next, a quick update for fans of Bungie's upcoming game, Marathon. There's been a bit of concern about needing a PlayStation Network account to play Marathon on PC or Xbox, and that's understandable after recent news from other Sony titles. But don't worry, Bungie has confirmed that Marathon will not require a PlayStation account if you're playing on PC or Xbox. Good news for those of us looking forward to this reimagined PvP extraction shooter without extra hoops to jump through. Alright, moving on to some huge news for The Last of Us fans. Naughty Dog has just announced The Last of Us Complete, a full 2-game collection for the PS5. It bundles together The Last of Us, Part 1 and Part 2 remastered in one epic package. Digitally, it's available now for $100. Now, if you're a collector, you're gonna love this. Everyone else will probably not. But they're also launching a physical collector's edition for $120, shipping out on July 10th. So, what's in the collector's edition? Well, you get the 2 games in physical discs, a sleek steel bookcase, American Dreams comics, number 1 to 4, with fresh cover art, a set of 4 lithographic art prints, and a personal thank you letter from Neil Druckmann himself. Also, don't forget, Part 2 Remastered adds even more value with the Lost levels, which are previously cut levels that are now available for you to play. And you also get the roguelike mode called No Return. Reviews are calling this the best way to experience this masterpiece, and honestly, that's hard to argue. And if you're a mega fan, Sony also dropped the Last of Us themed DualSense controller today. Plus, HBO's The Last of Us Season 2 kicks off this weekend. It's a full celebration of the franchise right now. Here's a story that's a bit of a bittersweet one. Tequila Works, the studio behind the beautiful 2017 game, Rime, is officially auctioning off its game rights. After filing for insolvency last year, following staff cuts and a canceled unannounced project, the Madrid-based studio is now selling off its IPs, brand name, and in-development titles via an online auction site called Escarpalia. And the most eye-catching listing is Rime itself. At the time of recording, the auction for Rime's trademark and IP is sitting at just over 10,000 euros. It's wild to think that the rights to such a beloved title are going for just a few thousand euros. I mean, it's not a small amount, but, Rime was a pretty good game. It's not a perfect game, but the visuals and puzzles were definitely the highlight. It definitely had great reviews, if I remember that correctly. However, this could be a unique opportunity for studios looking to pick up some promising IPs, but it's also a bit of a sad moment for fans of Tequila Works. We'll keep an eye on this one and keep you guys updated. Here's a wild one. Xbox just teamed up with none other than David Fincher. Yep, Fight Club and 7 David Fincher for its latest brand campaign. The ad, called Wake Up, is a surprisingly stylish short film featuring a CGI rat named Horatio. Poor Horatio starts his day like any overworked office drone, running on a literal hamster wheel and grinding away at his dull desk job alongside a sea of other rats. But here's the twist. Once he makes it through his grueling workday, Horatio finally boots up his Xbox, reconnects with friends, and the magic happens. In Xbox's words, this much-needed dose of fun transforms him into the human he always was. It's a smart metaphor for escaping the daily grind, and Xbox isn't the only one to play that angle. Remember that Tears of the Kingdom trailer? Same vibe, showing everyday life, transformed by a moment of play. Definitely a memorable ad, and Fincher's signature style gives it some serious cinematic punch. And for our last bit of news, the indie scene is absolutely thriving, and this week's AAA Initiative Showcase proved it yet again. Back for its second year, the showcase delivered a packed lineup of world premieres, fresh updates, and exclusive gameplay reveals across a wide range of upcoming indie games. If you missed it, here's a quick roundup of the standouts. Void/Breaker. High energy, first-person roguelike shooter from Stubby Games. You play as a test subject, battling through swarms of killer robots in a facility run by a hostile AI. There's explosive action, big guns, and non-stop adrenaline. This one sounds a load of fun. Neverway, a twisted take on life sim games, turning the cozy genre into a nightmarish experience. Expect dark themes and unsettling choices in this eerie simulation. Duskfade, a beautifully atmospheric adventure game with enchanting visuals and a mysterious story to uncover. Katana Zero free DLC update. Fan favorite Katana Zero is getting new free DLC. Developer ASCII Soft teased more of Zero's backstory, fresh characters, brand new levels, and expanded gameplay mechanics. And that's just a taste. There were tons more teasers and trailers. If you want to catch the full showcase, they've made the entire event available to watch online. And those are all the news we have today. Catch us next time for more gaming news and trends. And if you like this video, make sure to like and subscribe. It would really help us out. Hit that notification bell so you never miss a beat. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you next time.